In the sun-baked lands of the Florida Panhandle, a place called the Dozier School for Boys, known better today as the Florida School for Boys, once stood, its somber history etched into history like a haunting melody. Operating under the guise of reform, this institution, also known as the Arthur G. Dozier School for Boys, emerged on January 1st, 1900, spreading its shadow over young lives until June 30th, 2011. In 1955, a second campus sprung forth in the town of Okeechobee, cementing its status as the largest juvenile reform institutions in the nation. However, behind the facade of reform lay a much darker tale that would stir the hearts of those who dared to listen. Whispers carried on the winds and spoke of unspeakable horrors, abuse, beatings, heinous acts that no child should endure, and even the chilling specter of death lurking within the school's walls. Despite intermittent probes, changes in leadership, and hollow vows of improvement, the specter of cruelty and torment remained. Only when the school's shortcomings were laid bare during a state inspection in 2009 did the governor finally take decisive action. A comprehensive investigation was set in motion, and what unfolded would shake the very foundations of the establishment and change Florida's reform schools forever. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement's inquiries in 2010 and the Civil Rights Division of the United States Department of Justice's findings in 2011 confirmed the chilling truths behind the accusations of abuse and violence. In the wake of these revelations, the once dominating structure of the Dozier School for Boys crumbled, closing its doors for good in June 2011, a chapter in the dark tale of the Florida Department of Juvenile Justice that had come to an end. Yet, the shadows the school's malevolent past cast were far from dispelled. Questions loomed like embers in the night. How many young souls had perished within its walls, their resting places unknown, their fates unresolved? The state, facing its own complicity in the matter, commissioned the University of South Florida to conduct a forensic anthropology survey in 2012. The findings were grim, exposing 55 burials scattered across the grounds, most lying unmarked, and nearly 100 deaths documented within the school's heartless embrace. But justice eluded the fallen as the state denied the authority to exhume graves, leaving the cause of death and identities locked away. Yet, a lone voice sought redress, a family member of a student who met his end in 1934, his plea granted as an injunction, thwarted the state's plans to proceed with the sale until the remains could be exhumed and laid to rest. In the hallowed halls of the University of South Florida, a multidisciplinary team toiled tirelessly, pressing forward with exhumations and striving to give names to those long-forgotten souls. Their report, issued in January 2016, bore testament to 7 DNA matches and 14 presumptive identifications, a testament to the tireless pursuit of closure. Amidst the chilling revelations, a stark truth emerged. Death's cold embrace had claimed 3 times as many black souls as white within Dozier's dark confines. Yearning to mend the wounds of the past, the state, compelled by the collective conscience, bowed its head in a gesture of remorse. A formal ceremony in April 2017 sought forgiveness as it offered a personal apology to 24 survivors and the families of the fallen. In 2018, bills were being contemplated, promising reparation, perhaps in the form of scholarships, to honor the victims and their descendants. Yet, the tale remained incomplete, for in 2019, as the land bore witness to preliminary survey work for pollution cleanup, 27 more suspected graves emerged from the depths as if beckoning from the abyss, demanding further investigation until every soul could be acknowledged and tended to. Per the 2010 investigation conducted by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the institution now known as the Florida School for Boys had its origin in an 1897 legislative act, commencing operations on January 1, 1900, within the Mariana campus under the appellation of the Florida State Reform School. The governance of this establishment fell to 5 commissioners appointed by Governor William Dunnington Bloxam, entrusted with its administration, and obligated to furnish biennial reports to the legislature. In due course, the reins of authority shifted, and the commissioners were supplanted by the governor and cabinet of Florida, collectively serving as the Board of Commissioners of State Institutions. In 1914, the institution's name underwent a transformation, becoming the Florida Industrial School for Boys, only to be further rechristened in 1957 as the Florida School for Boys. Concurrently, the Okeechobee campus commenced its mission in 1955. Notably, the Mariana campus received an eponymous tribute in 1967, henceforth known as the Arthur G. Dozier School for Boys, an homage to a former esteemed superintendent. Chronicles from the early 20th century painted a distressing picture, revealing that children at the institution endured the harsh reality of confinement in leg irons, as a 1903 inspection report attested. Consequently, the state conducted 6 investigations into the institution during its formative 13 years to discern the depth of its operations and conditions. Like an insidious specter, tragedy cast its dark shadow upon the institution's history. In 1914, a calamitous fire engulfed a dormitory, claiming the lives of 6 students and 2 staff members, etching a heart-rending scar upon the school's history. Though nameless in its toll, the relentless grip of the 1918 Spanish flu epidemic claimed 11 students' lives, adding a somber chapter to the school's mournful dark history. One particularly heart-rending tale surfaced from the year 1934, as a 13-year-old boy was admitted to the school for the seemingly minor offense of trespassing, only to meet an untimely demise a mere 38 days after his arrival. Alongside this sorrowful account, the Boot Hill Cemetery quietly bore witness to recorded burials spanning from 1914 to 1952. As to how they died, there exists no history or documentation. During the U.S. Justice Department investigation conducted between 2010 and 2011, a disconcerting picture emerged of the Dozier School for Boys. Situated within a fenced and secure 159-acre compound, functioning as a high-risk residential facility, it was home to 104 boys aged 13 to 21 who had been committed there by the court. Their average duration of stay at Dozier spanned from 9 to 12 months, a period marked by uncertainty and challenges. The boys were accommodated in several cottages within the facility, each offering them a semblance of privacy with unlocked rooms. However, the veneer of normalcy often gave way to the unsettling realities that transpired within the confines of the institution. Adjacent to this scene was the Jackson Juvenile Offender Center, a striking contrast to Dozier in both function and atmosphere. Operating as a maximum risk facility, it housed chronic offenders, individuals found guilty of felonies or violent crimes. The residents of this center dwelled in single, locked cells reminiscent of a prison, adding a chilling air of confinement and restraint.